want to focus on the things that have made us good all year long. An intensity that they can't match. And the other thing is the ultimate disrespect is when somebody takes what's yours. And this is our game, so that makes it personal. Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
I need 60 minutes. 60 minutes of me! 60 minutes! No business, no mercy! Nothing but snot on the snot bubble! You got me! We're gonna ring the bell! We're gonna ring that championship bell! Motherfucking dog!
Ball is on Mitch Jeter's leg. Good snap, good hold, kick on its way, and the kick is good! Yes! Mitch Jeter, with 7 seconds left, gives the Irish a lead, 27-24. Notre Dame is on the precipice.
Notre Dame has won the Orange Bowl. 3rd and 16, Mahomes rolling out. Looking, firing, intercepted, picked up by Cooper DeJean, gets a block, DeJean is in, touchdown!
The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 59. They have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
And now, welcome everyone to the Huddle Up Podcast.
You are looking live.
Hello, everyone. Huddle Up Podcast. We are back after a week away, and it is February the 3rd, 2026. We're glad to be back with you, and for only 2 more times in the live season. We hope you are doing well. Make sure you're following along with us on YouTube, Facebook, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitch. You can see the sites there. You can also scan the QR code top right corner of your screen. Go to your episode description and get all of the Huddle Up social media links, the link tree, the merchandise, and all of that. You can see a sampling of the merchandise if you are on the live video with us right now. Plenty of offerings over there. A few more new ones we've gotten up over the past couple of weeks. We have one to get you ready for golf season for the Masters, which is just around the corner. So hop over there and take advantage of that. We would certainly appreciate the support as always. Once again, at least for now, just me and the big guy down there in the St. Pete area. Sean, how we doing this week?
Well, you know we're doing. Unlike you guys, we've survived winter. I think it's pretty much done. The frigid temperatures in the high 30s. Whew, brutal.
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
I know we had some wind chills in the teens. I mean that was pretty shocking for the kids and stuff. So
the wind chill here was in the 20s today.
Our wind chill was your temperature in most of those days.
Dude, our temperature was lower than your wind chill most days. Now today the wind chill was like 25. The high was like 33, and boy did it feel like springtime. I tell you what.
Yeah.
There, snow was melting. I got to flick like a huge chunk of ice.
Got you guys under a blanket of snow for a while yet, though. I guess.
It's still there. It's Phil can fuck himself. Every one of those groundhogs.
But more importantly, besides the cold, we survived a week of no actual football.
We did
before the big game.
We did.
So now we can see the light.
I guess the Pro Bowl games, if you want to believe in those, is a real thing, or tonight.
I mean, I caught some highlights. I mean, there's some fun with it.
Look, it's fun. Those things are what
Jalen Hurts and CeeDee Lamb, like Oklahoma teammates, and kind of having fun, and some of the guys that haven't been there before. Like it's still kind of fun. It's ironic they had to play when it was wintry conditions instead of sunny Florida. But.
Devin checking in with us in the comments here. What's going on, Devin? Good to see you back, buddy. If you're with us live, interact with us in the comments. Would certainly appreciate that. As the Caps and Flyers at a 2-1 clip right now after 2. The Flyers with the lead. But
yeah, that won't hold.
probably not. Hershey Bears goaltender Clay Stevenson looking for his 3rd straight win in as many games because that's where we're at in 2026. So, but the Capitals on a roll with the AHL goaltender. Who would have had that on the bingo card? Yeah, glad for everyone to be in with us, and just a couple of more weeks on the live show before we pack it up for the off season, just as the NFL will do. But Sean, while we're still here, let's kick it off. We look back at the week, or well, in this case, weeks that were, and not a whole lot of football, but some sports happening still around. You could go back to the conference championship games, Sean. But what was the best of the last few weeks?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what it's not, and that's the Hall of Fame. That was the glaring news of the 2 weeks. I feel was the opposite of what we're talking about here today, which is just pettiness and nonsense. Kind of blocking one of the sure-in all-time greats from just kind of getting what he deserves. It's nonsense, But that is what it is. I obviously, we're looking to the Super Bowl. We're not talking about that. I mean, it's the scenario where, Belichick's going to get into the Hall of Fame eventually, and in the long term, no one will remember this 100%. But right now, it just seems like kids in my school just not letting a kid into their group because they like someone else that they like. Like it's just nonsense. Way out of line. You agree? I mean, you agree? You think it's just
it's ridiculous?
Or are you on the side of the
no?
Like punish him for whatever nonsense tiny things he did.
No, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like he was a Hall of Famer before Spygate, before Deflategate. Well, the thing that's always bothered me, I touched on it on my my observations pod. If you want to check that out, it's on the feed here. But the thing that annoys me about the whole thing is like Spygate. Like I'm not saying that the Patriots didn't do anything wrong, but Spygate, it wasn't that they were filming, it's where they were filming from. So like what exactly, like what really was the crime? Because they were stupid? Because they didn't know the rules to the fullest extent? And then Deflategate, like, okay, everybody's mad that they have an advantage because of the deflated balls. But like I remember a Fox NFL Sunday broadcast where Aikman and Buck were talking about how the Packers equipment guys told them that they would overinflate the footballs for Aaron Rodgers. So and it was never investigated, it was never looked into. Like it was just like a passing joking comment. And like if a deflated football, which is just below the threshold for what is allowable in the NFL, is bad and punishable by death and all of that, then the Packers should have been held to the same standard, and it was just like a passing joke on a Sunday broadcast.
There's like a range.
Yeah, like
whether it's outside in either direction, it's still outside.
Right, it's still an advantage to one team because you don't think that the Packers are practicing with Aaron's overinflated balls, like.
Well, and all of it is just, I mean, it was a regime that was just dominating the league, and people were getting tired of it, and no one could beat them.
Right.
And so when something comes to light that could potentially be something they're doing, is it something to just start some kindling and be like, let's dig into these guys? And the league's like, no, we'll just fine them. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like they're videotaping things they're allowed to tape, but from a wrong angle or from a wrong
Like it feels petty.
And the only ones they really ever caught, I remember like some of the cheating was like against the Jets, and I'm like, first of all, Bill,
well, like why?
Really?
Right.
Like why do you need to film the Jets? Right. You could just
goddamn Jets.
Just put Madden on Simulate. It's the same thing.
Right.
But yeah. But it's the best of the week. So why don't I do my two I couldn't decide on? And,
sure.
And my honorable mention, as much as we pick on the Pro Bowl and as easy it was to just, I've always been anti all the subs and the like replacements and sorry while I battle this cold through this whole podcast. I've always been anti like, let's get this fill-in guy. Oh, he's hurt too. And then this one, and then this one. And then like they're all somehow Pro Bowlers. And I'm like, are half the league just Pro Bowlers? I don't understand how this works. I don't know if you opt out, you just aren't one. I don't know how to understand how it works, but
I opted out actually. I didn't feel like
they asked me.
I didn't feel like traveling right now.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's flu season.
But in the midst of all of it and all of the Shador, whatever that did other than draw ratings, probably nothing. Old man Joe Flacco was elected to the Pro Bowl for the first time in his career. Now, I know Joe Flacco is not going to go down.
Good for you.
I know he's not going to go down as one of the all-time great passers by any means.
No.
One of the best deep balls I've ever seen, though. But it just seems real hard to believe, with as dominant as the Ravens were for as long as he was there, and the playoff runs they were on, and some of the seasons he had a lot of yards. I'm like, how was he not at the very least already
playoffs?
I'm not real sure. Now some of those great seasons he was still playing.
Yes.
So I'm sure he may have been almost a Pro Bowl at that point. But I'm going to hang my honorable mention on Joe Flacco, and my best of the weeks is going to go to another surprise. I'm going to give it to the Atlanta Falcons, a team that's in the middle of an all but a brush fire with a QB controversy in the wrong direction. You have two aging guys that are just absolute rubbish. You've just burnt your coaching staff down. You have arguably the best offensive player in the NFL.
This guy sucks.
And nothing to do with him. You injuries all year. The defense looked good at times, terrible at others, and they just cleaned house, minus a couple stars. But they went and they appointed Matt Ryan to the head of football operations, which I think was a great decision as a face and from a knowledge standpoint. I think Matt Ryan brings a lot to the table. Anybody with that average, I just feel like coming to the table as a quarterback, nothing jumps off the charts out of Matt Ryan, but to be able to manage games as well as he did, he obviously knows what he's doing. And then to go out a few days later and hire Kevin Stefanski, I thought those were two really strong hires. And though we may not know where the offense is going, what direction the QB room's going, at least to me, that looks like stability in the front office. And I think you're going to wind up with a real good staff. And if they get some of those young defenders to come around and play well, it might buy him some time in that quarterback market. You can go out and find somebody to fill in until you find your guy. Maybe you can even compete in a division where nobody finished above 500. So, it's one of those situations where it could be a quick turnaround. And, I wish them the best. I have no reason to hate the Atlanta Falcons. Classy owner, classy organization. Just fallen just so far.
Yeah.
And maybe this is the start of something up. So at the very least, Falcons, you've got my best of the weeks.
Yeah, and I think it's still insane that the Browns chose to get rid of it. The fact that he was getting anything out of that roster and that organization is astounding. So, I think the Falcons made one of, if not, at least arguably the best hire. Now, granted, Giants fans will certainly argue that John Harbaugh's the best hire, and he probably is. But Stefanski's up there, especially in a division that's kind of for the taking. That would be my only maybe argument against the Harbaugh, if you're looking at the whole picture, because I feel like the Giants are still very far away. But the Stefanski.
Right, that's
I think
just it. I feel like the
Falcons
at times felt close, where it's a piece here, a piece there, an injury. Drake London was out half the year.
Yeah, they got it.
You're just kind of. It felt like a lot of coaching problems. It really felt there's a lot of management, clock management, game management, play calling that just didn't seem to go their way. And if you can secure that and limit those mistakes, why wouldn't you have a shot?
Yeah, absolutely. Devin says here, best of the week rumor. He's hearing there's a 50% chance Dolphins might be drafting a quarterback in the draft. Well, Devin, no offense, bud, but if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm hoping that the other 50% takes hold, because to me, the last thing the Miami Dolphins need to be investing in the first round is a quarterback.
Especially in this class,
right? It's not a good quarterback class.
One or two, there's not much there.
And then also get Tua off the books. Hopefully, you can get Tyreek Hill off the books. But you have a guy in Quinn Ewers that looked pretty good, albeit against bad teams at the end of the year. but you drafted him a year ago for a reason. So kind of turn the reins over to him. See if you can go out and find a serviceable backup quarterback that, God forbid Ewers gets hurt or just straight up isn't the guy. You can turn the keys over mid-season or something like that. But, yeah, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm not taking a quarterback.
I've been hearing some Malik Willis whispers, towards the Dolphins as a potential cheap, because you're going to have to get a guy on the cheap because you're going to eat some of Tua's money, obviously.
Right.
So, to be able to unload him and obviously, they're going to, at the very least, they would just cut him. I think you're just done with the experiment.
Yeah, I don't see anybody
and
taking.
If it costs you a fortune, it costs you a fortune. Like,
you're going to have to do it unless you can find a way to maybe like.
Because you're not in an immediate rebuild there.
No.
The Bills are there. The Patriots are there. You're not going anywhere yet. So you have time. If you have to eat some money for a few years and rebuild slowly, then you do that.
Yeah, see if there's any way you can restructure and at least get some of that.
They get anyone on the offense or defensive side of the line, someone that can protect whoever they throw back there, or someone that can get the guy on the other side. I think that's a great start.
Right. For me, honorable mention. We kind of touched on the Pro Bowl for a minute. Like, I've seen over the past 2 weeks, like a lot of people really kind of taking aim at the Shedeur Sanders being a Pro Bowler, kind of Joe Flacco being a Pro Bowler. Like, here's the deal. I've called out the Pro Bowl All-Star games as a whole for years as being meaningless, kind of silly participation events. My honorable mention is people finally coming around to where I've been for a long time. It doesn't really bother me that Shedeur Sanders is on the Pro Bowl. Like, I'm not watching it anyway. Again, I'm here podcasting while I think it's on literally as we're on the air. And I have a hockey game on my TV here in the studio. So I'm not absorbing that in any way, shape, or form. But in terms of all-star games, they're meaningless. They're meaningless. So what does it matter if Shedeur Sanders is a quote-unquote Pro Bowler? Like, it doesn't mean anything. It never really meant anything. Like, yeah, sure, it used to signify the best players, and the guys got to go to Hawaii, but they don't get to do that now. So, really, I don't care that guys turned down the offer. I don't care that guys are in it. It's just meaningless with time waste.
Right.
Right. But my actual best of the weeks, and it's not even football related, is the NHL Stadium Series in Tampa this past weekend. That, from beginning to end, from players arriving to the game presentation, all of it, the post game, that is how an NHL outdoor game should be presented to the fans. For years, I feel like the NHL Winter Classic has almost become like an afterthought for the NHL and their TV partners, which is odd because it was such a big deal when it was on NBC when it first came on. But the Stadium Series, man, like, you had pyro, you had pirates, you had everything. It was a show.
Tampa, when Tampa won that bid, they clearly set their minds to let's show the world how fun of a sports town Tampa is. And let's bring in the Buccaneers themes. They were advertising that thing everywhere, and people were excited. And you know what? The cold weather made it more exciting. Yeah. Like, people got a taste not only of outdoor hockey, but outdoor hockey below 30. You know what I mean? Like it was actually like close. It was in the low 30s, wind chills, and it was like people were bundled up by the end of the game.
Yeah.
It was, feeling like it was 25, and everybody was having a good time.
Because that's the thing, like, you can play an outdoor game, especially at night, up to like 60 degrees. Because again, you think of an arena. An arena's
not 30 degrees.
Right, exactly. Arena, you don't have to bundle up inside the arena. Like, the equipment freezes the ice. You just have to make sure there's not direct sunlight on it. Because they've played outdoor games at Anaheim. It
worked out. Cloudy,
but it worked out really, really well. The whole thing was done extremely. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect.
Is there anything more fun than watching clips of like the NFL players at the front of the glass, like screaming at hockey, like they're
Right.
watching hockey for like I think it was might have been McMillan. It was one of the Tampa Bay wide receivers watching hockey for
Baker
like the
was
first
there.
time.
Like, love it, man. It was fantastic. So
he's like screaming at the opposing team. He's having a great time.
So hopefully the NHL can take some of that success. I think the second year in a row now, the Stadium Series is going to outdo the Winter Classic in terms of ratings.
Well, and you could almost spin it as a great 2 weeks for outdoor hockey because you had the college game at State College.
Yeah, holy hell.
And they had 75,000 people in sub 20-degree temperatures.
Yep.
And they got a great game too.
They did.
And like an electric finish. And hopefully NHL, I know you guys listen to the podcast. Hopefully you see that people in Pennsylvania will sit outside no matter what the temperature is. That State College is a great place to host a hockey game, and that the Penguins and the Flyers deserve that.
Yeah, I think it was a test run to see because there's, there can be potential parking issues and things like that. And with the weather in PA over the past couple of weeks, you kind of had the opportunity to see what it would be like. And it worked out really well. And they actually had some issues earlier in the week last week where it was so cold that the ice was cracking. That there was a concern that the game wasn't going to be able to be held because it was too cold for the ice, which sounds a little silly, but that
I
was
saw clips from the Northeast of people ice skating on Wildwood Beach and stuff, and I'm like, God.
Yeah, so it was like it was rainwater and like a little bit of the tide was just right that it was able to freeze. Some of the inlet, like the bay side, little like where people have like their boats on like the bayside houses in like Ocean City, Maryland, that was all frozen.
Crazy. Everything's freezing up there,
absolutely insane.
But great couple weeks for hockey.
Absolutely. Devin says here, problem with All-Star games, there's nothing at stake. He says, I don't even know if the MLB does where the winner of the All-Star game gets home field advantage. They do not.
They do not.
And that's better. I thought that was always the dumbest thing in sports. Why would a group of guys who most of them aren't even going to be playing in the World Series have any sort of stake into who gets home field advantage? You know who should get home field advantage? The team that's better. That's how it should work. If you're going to have home ice, home court, home field in a championship series, because obviously the NFL always does a neutral site. But if you're going to have home field advantage be a possibility in a sport, in a playoff, in a championship series, it should go to the team with the better record. That's how it should be. The Major League Baseball was dumb. All-Star game, you want to have All-Star games? Perfect. Nothing should be at stake in them. It should be like, I don't even necessarily like and I get why they do it, but why like baseball, basketball, and hockey, why it's in the middle of the season. Why are you even risking anybody getting hurt in one of these dumb things? Have it at the end. Have one night where, between the second and third or third and fourth round of these playoffs, when teams are going to get that break before the championship series, have that be the All-Star game. I get some guys are already starting to pack it up, for the year and go into their off-season training program. But so are the NFL guys. Find a group of guys that come out and do the hardest shot competition and, fastest skater and all that stuff. But yeah, nothing should ever be at stake in All-Star games. Ever.
No, I don't see any reason why. I mean, I remember the Phillies. Well, when the Phillies won the World Series in 2008, that rule hurt us. We wound up being able to win it at home because of it. But Brad Lidge that year only blew one save. It was in the All-Star game.
Right.
And they wound up losing the game. And so in that series, the Phillies were the road team. They started down here in Tampa. So, it was that could have been a thing. Fortunately, the Rays weren't good, and
that helped.
Everything else was fine.
That helped. All right, we'll move on here from the best of the week. We will start with the NFL playoffs before we get into all of the stuff around the big game coming up this Sunday. But, Sean, we know the road. We'll talk about the teams that made it. Obviously, on the graphic here, you see New England and Seattle. We know who's playing for the Lombardi this Sunday. But in terms of the road to get here, and it being New England versus Seattle, and we've heard all of the things about New England had the easiest road here, and easiest run to a Super Bowl in NFL history. Which, first off, people use the word ever very freely. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying we should probably go back and evaluate all AFC and NFC champions to see who had easy roads, because I'm sure there was plenty in the past. But we'll talk about New England and Seattle here in a minute. Looking at this playoff bracket, did we get the best, in your opinion, the best Super Bowl matchup possible? And if not, what are we missing out on?
Well, I mean, obviously, I would have preferred anything with the Eagles in it. But when I predicted at the start, when I filled out my bracket and had Eagles Jaguars, I thought that if the Eagles woke up and played actual football, that would have been a really fun. I think the Jaguars getting through would have been really exciting, because I think that they were on fire, and I think they were still on fire when they lost to Buffalo, and it would have been fun to see them ride that hot streak in. I think, man, I just don't know. I mean, I want to say the Rams. Seahawks are probably the right team out of the NFC. I'm not trying to discredit New England with this statement, but I think there's a couple matchups I would have rather seen Seattle play, like a healthy Denver. I think let that train. These were two teams that were on top for a while. Denver ran the gauntlet pretty much in the AFC. I mean, you could argue the Patriots did too. I mean, I guess that's fair. I don't know. I mean, the Patriots at least are a good defensive team. You know me and my love for defense. So
correct.
Seahawks, Texans. Give me two defenses in the top five. And I don't think New England's in the top five. They're close, but
I think they were at least in the regular season. I don't know how exactly it shook out,
because I know the Eagles made a push, and I know the Chargers were a top five defense for a while. So I haven't looked at the list, but I feel like it would have been fun if the Texans hadn't piddled it away too, to see if just defense. I would have liked Broncos, Texans, and then Seahawks, Rams. I would have been fine with any of those four. But we got the other one, and they're a good team. I don't think we got the worst matchup by any means, so it should be fun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously in my perfect world, my Chargers would be playing this Sunday, but unfortunately that just wasn't to be.
Who's better than us? Nobody.
But no, the reality here is I think in the NFC side, I think the best team did get here. I've kept saying, like, well, wait, what? Bad Sam Darnold's still in there, and by all means, he's still there. Me and a coworker were talking about it today when we were talking about the game. Is like that Week 18 playoff round 1 Sam Darnold from last year still is inside the man. Like that's still certainly a possibility. But ultimately, they for a team that was able to beat and kind of handle the Rams, and the Rams at times were tremendous this year, and at times that they looked. I mean, they struggled to beat a Titans team at one point this year. So like, I never believed in this notion that the Rams were untouchable, that the Rams were unbeatable, or anything like that. That some people kind of put them on this pedestal. And certainly Seattle wasn't either. They had their struggles at times. I think a really fun matchup that or at least a fun team that we didn't get was the Chicago Bears. Now, granted that their rise to where they got was a little bit premature this year. And I think as we go through this offseason and see what they can add and kind of tweak to get to mate to a better product, will be fun to see. But year one of Ben Johnson was an absolute blast. That Bears team was a lot of fun. I'm with you on the Jaguars, man. Like, them losing to Buffalo, to me, when I look at everything that happened in this postseason, that feels like the game that the NFL fan lost on, because
you wound up with a real bad Josh Allen performance the following week. like almost like they exhausted themselves getting out of Jacksonville, which a lot of us have done. If you've ever driven through there, it's exhausting.
It's a lot. It's a lot to drive around that city. I've been there. But yeah, like that team. I think if they get out of there, it could have been a whole different ball game. I think they would have ended up drawing. They would have drawn the Patriots. I think. Yeah, they would have drawn the Patriots, and the Texans would have gone on to Denver, and who knows how either of those games would change the entire AFC postseason. But and then of course the great unknown is if Bo Nix never gets hurt, because
right.
that Denver team, like they weren't ever super flashy. They didn't blow a lot of teams out, but what was it? 11 of their 13 wins were by less than 10 points. Like, it didn't matter if the game was a blowout or tight. Like, they just found ways to win, and I would have loved to have seen that team at full strength against New England.
Good days and bad days. Bo Nix looks like the kind of kid that's just a winner and doesn't get fazed by a mistake and doesn't, and they rally behind him. So it's the kind of thing in a close game in the snow and the weather, he brings a little bit more with his legs, I think, than Steedham does, obviously.
Sure.
And, you have more weapons at your disposal. So whether or not, I think you stand a better chance, obviously, with Bo Nix, and we might have the Super Bowl that, probably, in my opinion, would have been the best matchup, taking the 1 versus 1. I think that would have been pretty ideal, but we got a good one, I suppose, and we got 1 versus 2, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and we'll certainly talk about it here in a second. Devin says he doesn't like the fact that one of the Dolphins' rivals have made it to the Super Bowl and they haven't sniffed one in a very long time. He said now he knows how I feel when the Eagles won last year, and of course the Tom Brady Patriots and their run. It was a harsh realization. I knew that it was Super Bowl LX, and I didn't put it together that it's Super Bowl 60, and then the harsh reality set in that, and I knew I knew that it's been 30 years since Dallas has been to one, has won one, has been to an NFC title game. But then, like, when I realized it, because on Dan Patrick they mentioned that it was Super Bowl 60, and I went, oh hell, the first 30, the Dallas Cowboys won 5 of them, and the second 30, literally the same number of Super Bowls, the Cowboys have won 0. And I'm like, shit. Well, that sucks. So that was a really harsh reality. Just this week. So if anybody's going through it, you're probably doing better than me with that. But Deshaun, anything else on the road and how we've gotten to this point before we actually look at the game itself?
I think we rode through the road and we're here and let's go ahead and preview some stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about it. This Sunday, NBC and Peacock. It is Super Bowl 60, Levi's Stadium, Santa Clara, California. 6:30 Eastern time is the start of the broadcast. I don't know what arbitrary number they actually put on kickoff, probably 6:43.5 or something like that. But it is the 16-3 Seattle Seahawks. They are a 4.5 point favorite against the 17-3 New England Patriots. The over/under, Sean, in this one is 45.5. We'll make the actual prediction here in a minute, but we'll take a couple of steps to get there. When both of the conference championship games went final, so we knew it was the Patriots, we knew it was Seattle. Your first thought was blank would win.
Seattle by 1 million.
Okay.
I think I even said those words out as soon as the whistle went. I was like, God, Seattle by 1 million. Like, I literally I did not like what I saw in one game, and was impressed by what I saw on the other, and it just felt bad. So that was the initial reaction.
Yeah, that was kind of mine. I don't know if I put the actual million marker on it, but I was just like, Seattle's going to crush them. Like, and a friend of mine in one of the many group chats that I'm in said, like, doubting the Patriots at this point seems almost foolish. And he's probably right. Like, just the way this season has played out, it is probably foolish to give New England, like, basically no chance. And certainly I'm not, and we'll get there, but I'm not saying that New England doesn't have a chance of winning this game. But my first thought exactly was Seattle's going to crush them. Like, they're just that much better. And it has nothing to do with New England having the quote unquote easy road, because look, I defended them multiple times this year in that they don't get to pick their road. I defended the Eagles. I think it was 2 years ago when people were trying to call out, their lack of a hard schedule. And I'm like, look, the NFL teams don't pick who they play. Like, you don't get to sit there and handpick your schedule. So it's not their fault that they got an easy draw. They got to play who they got to play. They didn't break Bo Nix's ankle. Like, it just, that's just how it goes. And again, look back at, as much as I hate it, the 2018 Eagles, they lost their starting quarterback. So, like, they had one of the harder. You could have argued that that the Patriots or any of the teams that played Philly in that postseason going into those games, look how easy they got it. They're playing Nick Foles and the Eagles. Well, you got to play the game, So, yeah, but my first thought, man, is I was just like, my God, this has the potential to just be an absolute snoozer, which would suck for the NFL. Not that the NFL cares, because everybody and their mother is going to watch this game.
Right, they've already cashed the checks at that point.
But last year was a stinker for most of the country. It was a stinker of a Super Bowl because it wasn't close. It was a whooping. I turned it off because it was second quarter was DeJean's interception, right?
Yeah.
That was the point I turned it off. I put it on the second TV just so I would know when the halftime show was starting, so I could put the halftime show on the big TV. And then once that was done, I was watching Disney movies. I'm not watching this. I've already seen this shit once.
One thing fortunate for the NFL in a game that one-sided was that it was the Chiefs getting whipped. That it was like, at least you were watching a giant fall. And
it was a fan base in Philadelphia that it is a large fan base. Like, if it would have been, if it would have been a smaller NFL or NFC team that was doing, that was doing that, the ratings would have been hurt as well, because it's like nobody gives a shit if the Cardinals are beating up on the Chiefs. Like, Philly fans were obviously locked in, so that helped.
It was like Buccaneers Texans, right? Like, and Baker Mayfield was just shoving it to the Texans.
Yeah,
defense.
people were out after the halftime show.
Yeah, they might have had the TV on, but no one would have been watching.
Yeah, it would have been background noise at that point. But yeah, it's that I think we hit the initial thoughts appropriately. Shifting this, we've done this over the years with the Super Bowl. So we'll let the pattern repeat. Talking about the Patriots and if they stand a chance, let's evaluate that portion of it, Sean. The Patriots will win Super Bowl 60 if what?
Well, I'm going to have to remember what I wrote, because I had typed in on my image here on my phone what I was going to say, and apparently it never saved. So we're going to just roll with what we think we said. But the Patriots will win this game if they can force Sam Darnold to make the mistakes he's made in the past. If they can somehow disrupt, now it's easier said than done against that offensive line, but if you can get to Sam Darnold early and force him to make mistakes or disguise some coverages that force him, and if he makes a mistake early, that would be even bigger.
Yeah.
Like if it's a first quarter pick, doesn't even have to be a pick six. sack fumble, force him into a weird ladder, something. So basically what you did to Steedham. If you can get him to make a grueling error like that and get inside his own head and humanize him, because right now he's playing way above the level of what I would call human. And we probably just saw the best game of his career in that game against the Rams.
Yeah.
Poised, just looked fantastic. If you can stop that, that's how you win.
Yeah, a couple of stats here. Patriots key to the games. They're 11-2 when forcing one or more turnovers this season, tied for fourth in the NFL. The Seahawks have turned the ball over 27 times, second most in the NFL. Patriots are 13-2 when averaging more than 5 yards on first down plays this year. That is second best in the NFL. The Patriots are 11-2 when sacking the quarterback less than 3 times this season, best in the NFL. So that's kind of a surprising stat. If they're not getting to the quarterback, they're still winning games. Patriots also undefeated when the opposing team converts less than 55% of its red zone chances into touchdowns this season. That is best in the NFL. So I think, if there's a key element in 3 of those 4 points about the New England Patriots, it's the defense. If the defense can keep the Seattle Seahawks in check, they're going to have a chance and they can win this football game. I think another big thing is Drake May. You have a young guy who at times has made some really poor decisions. They need him to not make those. If you're kind of bottled up in the backfield, take the sack. It's okay. If you need to just get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball. It's okay. Don't try to be the hero. Just be the quarterback. But I think really the Patriots will win if their defense can hold the Seattle Seahawks in check a bit. Sean, on the other side, the Seattle Seahawks will win the Super Bowl if what?
Well, it's kind of split sides for me because the Seattle Seahawks, to me, looking at this game, both like through the scope of what I've seen over the last few weeks and just on paper, I feel like the Seahawks will win if they simply successfully execute their game plan. Like if they come in the way they have over the last several weeks, and they can run the ball the way they want to run the ball, and they can, use that to Sam Darnold's advantage, force turn, like the usual Seattle Seahawks football. If they can play Seahawks football, I think they win. And on the flip side, it's kind of they win if they can force New England out of its game plan, because you were talking about like when you were, Seattle, like the initial reactions, how, like it looks like Seattle should kill them. And I think it's just because on paper, you look at New England and it doesn't look like they bring a lot to the table. But what they did in that Denver game was there's a lot of shifty coaching moves that Vrabel does. Late substitutions, the way he trots guys on, he forces the other team into bad clock management situations. I was watching the Steedham, the big turnover right in the game, and on that play he delayed his substitution, so the Denver had to delay theirs, and by the time Steedham was setting up to square that ball, and by the time the umpire was off the ball, Steedham had 5 seconds to snap that ball. So he was already under duress and had no time to read anything, and it forced him into a mistake. And I think they've done that a lot this year. A lot of just like sleight of hand stuff between plays to give themselves a little bit of an edge. And so you kind of got to force them out of that by playing your game and putting them on edge. And so I think as long as the game plan goes Seattle's way, I think they have it.
Yeah, some keys to the game for the Seahawks. They're undefeated versus top 10 pass defenses this year. The Patriots are the 9th best passing defense. Seattle 14-1 when allowing less than 50% of third down conversion opportunities. That was best in the NFL. 4-1 when rushing less than 25 times this season, best in the NFL, and 10-1 when intercepting at least one pass this season, also best in the NFL. Kind of similar to the Patriots. I think one of the biggest keys, and they'll win if Seattle's defense does their job. These are two teams that can play very good offensively. They can also play very poorly offensively. But one constant with both these teams, pretty much from start to finish this year, has been the play on the defensive side of the ball. And Seattle, that's going to be the thing. Again, you have a second-year quarterback, a first-year head coach, a first-year in this team head coach. You have guys who have never been this deep in the postseason before on the opposite side of the ball. So if your defense can continue to do what it does in a stadium that they play in regularly, it is definitely something that they can take advantage of and get ahead of New England and win the game. Now on the other hand, Sean, the Patriots will lose the Super Bowl if what?
The Patriots will lose the Super Bowl if they can't run between the tackles. It's been a game plan by design. Both Stevenson and Henderson have excellent numbers between the tackles. Drake May has a lot of rushing yards between the tackles, and they've done a really great job at controlling that part of and creating lanes where they want them and forcing teams to stay inside, which essentially loosens up the passing game on the outside for Drake May and gives him the ability to kind of scramble out if need be, and there's more room to hit the corners. So they get a lot of extra yards even on plays after that by setting it up with those middle of the field runs. It's tough sledding against the Seahawks, but if they can do that, they would be fine. But if they can't, I think a lot of it falls on a young quarterback, and I think it's too much.
Yeah, I think the Patriots lose this game if their playmakers don't make plays. Their defense can do as much as they can, but when you're looking across the field at one of the few defenses that's probably better than you, and you're not making the plays, you're not doing anything to try to break that opposing defense, you're going to be in trouble. Your defense can only get you so far. You have to have guys step up. You have good running backs. You have Stephon Diggs, who loves to run his mouth about the fact that he's there and the Bills aren't, and stuff like that. And you have a young quarterback that,
I feel like he could have just stopped at run his mouth.
Well, there is that. But you have a young quarterback that, doesn't really know with this coaching staff really how to lose. So you need to kind of go in with that confidence and get the job done. And if their playmakers can't do that, the defensive game will not be enough, because eventually Seattle is going to break through, and their defense or their offense is going to get points on the board. But if your offense can't keep up at all, you're going to be in big trouble. Sean, the Seattle Seahawks will lose Super Bowl 60 if what?
Well, obviously, if things go wrong, but I would say that the big one for me that just jumped off the page, and it's kind of general because I'm not going to say who they're containing, but if the Seahawks are unable to contain, and by contain, I mean that line of scrimmage between the tackles, you got to limit the running game on first and second down, but also contain Drake May getting out of there. Like, if you can control the pocket on your defensive side of the ball, you're in really great shape. If they can't, if they give New England the big yardage on first and second down, setting up third and shorts, if they give Drake May lanes to the outside, because I watched it against Denver, like when Drake May, he knows where that pylon is, and he's very quick to get outside and knows exactly what path to take. And the reason he has that is because linebackers can't commit to that, to that zone, because they have to be ready for the run. So if you can't contain, it makes it too easy for the Patriots to come in and steal one from you.
Yeah, to me, the Seahawks will lose if they give up more points than they scored. No,
I think one of these teams has a great chance to win this game.
That's true. Yeah. Look, it's been kind of a theme with me and waiting for it to happen, and it hasn't happened yet. But the Seahawks will lose if bad Sam Darnold shows up. Because again, I've referred to it. You know, when one of the members of our panel that isn't with us tonight wanted to very early this season put Sam Darnold in the top 12 quarterbacks in the NFL, which I'm not even 100% sure that he is. He's probably there now. But the thing I kept going back to is like, man, I saw what this dude did in the last two games he played last year for Minnesota. And it's been my argument as to why I still don't think Minnesota made the wrong choice in sticking with J.J. McCarthy at a much lower amount of money and seeing what you have in the kid, because your closing statement, if you think of the NFL season like a trial in court, that closing statement by Sam Darnold, Esquire, was one of the worst closing statements you could have. He was terrible in week 18 and round one of the postseason last year. So if that guy shows up to Santa Clara, I don't know that there's enough that Seattle can do around him to be able to get themselves back in this game.
I was ironically talking to a Vikings fan out about who was going off on like the opposite take you just took, who was just angry that Sam Darnold, like, look how good he is.
I mean, I get it.
You know, like how in the world, and I tried to talk him off the ledge. And I'm like, look, you guys made the choice for you. And they're like, well, what happens if we can't get the most out of this?
Hindsight is 20/20, my friend.
When I told him, I said, I mean, I've never thought of it, but I'm like, maybe it's your coaching at that point. Like if you couldn't get the most out of Sam Darnold in the games that mattered, and then you have another guy and you can't get get him to elevate his game, you know, you start to question. You're like, well, can we just not get the best out of quarterbacks? Like, is that where we're at? But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to make a choice, because if you bring Sam Darnold back, it's not to back up J.J. McCarthy, because you're going to tag him.
Right.
And you're going to pay him, you know, top 5 money. You're going to play him.
Yeah.
You know, just, you know, I think fans are wary only because McCarthy was coming off the injury.
Yeah. And
so,
look,
maybe tagging would have been the right choice, but who knows?
Yeah. And I think that the easiest thing to do is to look back in hindsight. Again, like, now granted, it certainly did not happen, but if Brian Kelly, you know, leaves Notre Dame, Notre Dame didn't fire him. So it's a little bit of a
family,
you know, but if, you know, we can make the argument, you know, maybe Notre Dame didn't do enough to keep him there. Maybe Notre Dame didn't put enough resources behind him, hypothetically, to make him not want to go to the SEC, right? And he goes down there, and we're happy that he's gone, because like, you know, well, he can never win the big one. Then he goes down to LSU and wins a national title in year one. It's like, oh man, we should have done more to keep this guy, right? Right. Like, again, that's the hindsight play.
Every decision you make that's close like that could easily be the wrong decision.
Right. Washington Capitals.
Sometimes Jalen Reagor looks better than Justin Jefferson.
Like,
to who I'm not sure.
The Washington Capitals, yeah. You know, they let Barry Trotz walk the summer after winning the Stanley Cup, because he wanted to be involved more in like being like an active coach, but also a GM. And the Caps didn't want that, so they let him walk. He goes to Nashville, or he goes to the Islanders, like turns that franchise around a bit. They didn't win anything. Now he's the GM in Nashville. That team has only gotten worse since he's been GM, and he is now stepping down as GM. So like initially Caps fans were like, how could we be so stupid to let this guy walk away? Now granted, the Todd Reardon experiment was terrible, and we don't want to talk about that. But like in hindsight, maybe not allowing him to be GM was maybe a good choice. So yeah, everything gets skewed one way or the next, depending how it plays out. So I get Vikings fans' frustration, but remember,
the big thing for Sam Darnold is, as good as he's looked in this playoff run, he's not the reason they're here.
No, he's on a better team. Let's also remember that.
I'm not going to take anything away from Minnesota. As bad as that QB situation was, Minnesota, did they finish one game over 500 or one game on? I think they were over.
They were over.
I feel like they were, 9-8?
Yeah, they finished 9-8.
They had a better record than the winner of the South, right? So that is not an easy division.
Yeah, 9-8. Every team in the North was
you had a bumbling Lions
above
team,
500.
and you had 2 playoff teams.
Yeah,
so you had 3 very competitive teams, and you finished 9-8 in a division. You started like 3 different quarterbacks.
The Vikings finished 8th in the NFC in terms of win-loss.
Right. So I'm not saying it's a bad team.
Actually, 7th because that looking at ESPN's conference standings, that includes 8 and 9 Carolina. So yeah, the Vikings finished 7th in win-loss in the NFC.
Best record. So I'm not going to take away and say the Vikings are terrible, but I can tell you this: as good as that defense is, it is not Seattle's defense.
Right.
And as good as that offensive line is at times, it is not Seattle's offensive line. Right. And we have Justin Jefferson. I'm like, they have Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like, they have one.
Right.
Right. Like, there is nothing that Minnesota brings to the table, minus maybe Jefferson over in Jigba if you're going to sit on that throne. And you could argue they have a better tight end situation. Hawkinson, if he ever stays healthy, sure, I'll give you that. But nowhere else on the field are you better. So, like, Sam Darnold, like, yeah, he looks way better, but he's also in a way better situation.
Right.
Right? Like, you have Aaron Jones. He has Kenneth Walker. Same guy, except his is younger now.
Yeah.
So it's like,
right.
You got a 2-headed monster. You have all the same things. So it worked out for Sam Darnold. It doesn't mean it would have worked out for you. So Minnesota fans, just calm down. But Sam Darnold, congratulations.
Absolutely.
On the upgrade.
Devin says Seattle will lose if they let the Patriots have successful running receptions. Yes, I think like running backs out of the backfield.
Running backs catching the ball.
That's how I'm reading
it.
And
runs, like if you don't tackle. I mean,
either way. Yeah, I mean, either
if you
way.
Don't tackle Butte, he's going to run right past you.
Yeah, I definitely take that as like running backs out of the backfield. But yeah, either way, if you're not making plays on the defensive side of the ball, you're going to be in trouble. A couple more notes on the matchup itself before we get to our official predictions. Patriots throwing the ball just 48.1% of the time this season. That is the 5th lowest in the NFL. Seattle has allowed just 5.5 yards per drop back in the NFL. That is the 2nd best in the National Football League. Patriots are 11-2 when forcing 1 or more turnovers. Seattle has turned the ball over 27 times this year.
They're 1-2.
11-2. Sorry, 11-2 when forcing 1 or more turnovers.
I was like, how's that making sense?
Seattle's running backs have averaged just 3.7 targets per game. That's the 2nd lowest in the NFL. Patriots have allowed just 4.8 receptions per game to running backs. That is the 5th highest. Seattle has been successful on 34.7% of pass attempts when their quarterback was under pressure. Patriots have pressured opposing quarterbacks on just 20.9% of passing plays. So, again, yeah, it's –
pass rush is not New England's strength.
No. So they're doing all of their work away from the pass rush.
Which is good for Sam Darnold.
Which is good for Sam Darnold, may also be good for New England. And last one, Seattle has been successful on 51.6% of pass attempts against a base rush. That is 4th best in the NFL. The Patriots have pressured opposing quarterbacks 20.3% with a base rush this year. So there's definitely potential there for Seattle to make plays against this defense. We'll see if they can do it. 1 minute 52 left in the 3rd period. Flyers have regained a lead. They are up 3-2. So
hey, there you go,
Capitals
guys.
trying to tie it here before the end of the game. But
Probably
Sean,
that I'm not watching it. Every time I turn them on, it's horrendous.
Can you flip it on for me, please? All right, Sean. Let's actually get to the predictions again. Seattle is a 4.5-point favorite. You're over under 45.5. What happens this Sunday?
I don't know if Vegas knows something. I think 4.5 feels incredibly low. I don't know if they're trying to convince money on New England. I'm not really sure what the choice there is. But I mean, I'm going to go with where my gut and my head, like my gut and my head, are on the same side of this line. And I'm going to say that Seattle not only finds a way to win, but finds a way to win by more than 4.5. I'm not saying it's going to be like last year. I don't think that's the case. And you know, if they jump out to, if at any point they have a 10 or a 14-point lead, they will be very happy to start running the ball and like just just ease out of it and not try to like put a dagger in anybody and throw heavy balls downfield. But I just, Vrabel's done a great job of out coaching, some situations, especially on this playoff run, and Drake May's looked fantastic. But to be honest, and I said it going into the playoffs, I don't know what Drake May looks like against top defenses, and he's played a couple. And while the Patriots have found ways to win, it has not been Drake May looking great while doing it, and I don't think he gets the opportunity to look great. I think this defense is going to rattle him, and if they get it done in the running game, like I said, they run between the tackles well, they got a shot. But I think odds are Seattle wins this substantially.
Yeah, I think New England has a chance to keep this thing close for 2.5, 3/4 of this game, but I think ultimately the better team is going to take over in the later moments.
And I'm going to take the under, by the way, at 45.5.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think the under's the play. I think defense is the name of the game with both these teams. I don't think we're going to see a very high-scoring matchup. So I have Seattle winning, absolutely. And at 4.5, that does feel tight. Like if this was 6.5, 7, like I would take the Patriots to cover. But I think this is just small enough that Seattle is going to get over that 4.5 mark. They are just the better team, and at the end of the day, the better team is going to win. Devin has Seahawks in the over, but the Seahawks will not win the coin toss at the beginning of the game. We'll talk about that and some of the other prop bets.
When we try to lock things up, Devin, I'll still give you hope on that over. But I know I took the under, but I'll give you hope on it with my lock it up.
Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be Seattle. I really do think it's going to be Seattle. Small window of opportunity for the Patriots, but again, I'm not giving them zero chance, but I'd say probably less than about 20% chance. So sorry, Patriots fans who are listening. All right, before we lock it up for the week, Sean, I have pulled some of the fun prop bets for this Sunday. So Devin brought up the coin toss. That is minus 101, regardless of how you choose it, because, again, there's only two options. Length of the national anthem. Charlie Puth performing the national anthem this Sunday.
No idea how that guy sings.
Absolutely not. So over 125 seconds is minus 150. Under 125 seconds is plus 110. So that is your value there.
Oh, so I think it's going under, are they?
Okay. This is a fun one. Will a scoring drive take less time than the anthem? Yes is minus 600. No is plus 350. So
now when they say a scoring drive, does that mean you have to establish with your offense? You have to
so like a kick return, punt return would not count.
Pick six, that doesn't count.
That does not count. Yeah, it would have to be an actual drive by.
I would think yes has to be the edge there. Just the way Seattle, both these teams are very opportunistic defenses. I would think one of them is going to set their offense up with a short field.
I would think.
Drive, right? It's not a touchdown.
Scoring drive.
So even if you went 3 and out and kicked a field goal.
Empty netter for the Flyers. They're going to win in South Philly tonight over the Capitals.
Go Flyers.
The winning streak. Right. The winning streak ends at 2 for Washington.
We were on a heck of a skid, man.
Well, now the jersey number of the first touchdown scorer over 10.5 is minus 160. Under 10.5 is plus 120.
Who's your under? What in Jigba's?
11.
Yeah, that's why it's 10.5.
Yeah. Over is the smart play. I don't know who your playmakers are under.
Drake May.
Drake May is under. Sam Darnold isn't even. So yeah, it's a very small window there. Will this is kind of mean. Will Seattle attempt a pass from the opponent's 1 yard line? Yes is plus 550 for yes. No is minus 1,000.
Ironically, I was gonna throw at you. I was like, I still feel Charbonnet banged up. I feel like they should have signed Marshawn Lynch. And the only time you put him in is if you have a first and goal on the 1 yard line.
The cold open, I think it was on the last season of the league. They're on the beach and like Marshawn Lynch like drinking with him, and they he's like, here, throw me a beer. He's like, he's right there. Let me just run it over to him. He's like, no, I can throw it. It's like, no, man, that's stupid. Let me run it over to him. What's the worst that can happen? He like throws it. The guy like bobbles the beer and ends up like catching somebody on fire. So
it would have been funnier if someone else caught it.
It would have been funnier if somebody else.
Like someone just takes the beer.
Will a Patriots linebacker or offensive lineman catch a pass? Yes is plus 600 or plus 550. No is minus 1,500 or minus 1,000. How many Super Bowl 49 highlights will be shown? That's the last time these two teams faced off in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, what's the over-under on that?
Now, this is from kickoff to final whistle, so this is only during the game, not during any pregame.
Like they cut away to it. Okay.
Over, under 1.5 is minus 150. Yeah, I would take the over.
Over.
And
anything on the goal line, they're going to show that.
Absolutely.
And if it comes down to a final drive, they're going to
show it. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely take the over if you're going to touch that one. What will be mentioned first? Drake May attended Super Bowl 50. That's plus 110. Or Sam Darnold is the first quarterback from the 2018 class to reach the Super Bowl. That's minus 150. Yeah, that's the more likely.
Not true. Apparently there was a backup quarterback that made it in the last few years that was in that draft class. Somebody pointed it out, and he's like a third. He's like,
that doesn't count.
He was just like on a roster.
That's like saying Ian Book is a Super Bowl champion. Like, come on. Which I guess technically he is. He does have a ring, I would say.
Well, the funny thing is, what are the two back? It's Drew Lock is the backup. Who's the backup for the Patriots? It's like another nonsense.
Who is let's see. Who is the Patriot?
Tommy Cutlets.
I think you're right. I think it might be Cutlets.
I think the fact that
Josh Dobbs, Tommy DeVito, third string.
Okay, so no matter what happens, either Tommy Cutlets or Drew Lock gets a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, and Jalen Milroe, Alabama legend, is
Milroe. He's a up and comer.
Yeah,
wish him the best. That could be fun.
Third stringer. Which Patriots fan will be shown first? Mark Wahlberg, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, John Krasinski, John Cena, John Bon Jovi. Well, John Bon Jovi, if this bet is still live, take this bet, John Bon Jovi at plus 600, because they announced today that he's going to be like the honorary captain.
Well, there you go.
Grab that bet. Elizabeth Banks plus 1,000, Steven Tyler plus 1,200, Bill Burr plus 1,600, Conan O'Brien plus 2,000, Elton John plus 2,500. Which Seahawks fan will be shown first? Richard Sherman plus 200, Chris Pratt plus 400. He's the honorary captain for Seattle, so grab that one. Put that in a two-person parlay. That's easy money. Will Ferrell plus 450, Rainn Wilson plus 600, Sir Mix-a-Lot plus 900, Dave Matthews plus 1,000, John McCain.
Devin wins the day.
You won't see John Cena. Well played, Devin. Well played, sir.
Devin wins the show.
You got it. My guy. Well done.
All right.
Macklemore plus 1,100. Bill Nye plus 2,000.
Unreal.
This is a fun one. Will Chris Collinsworth mention Patrick Mahomes minus 190? Say, now here's a guy minus 175. Say Nick Emenwari's last name wrong. I may have just done that plus 150.
You probably did.
Or will Chris Collinsworth misidentify a celebrity plus 550?
Well, I hope that happens, but that's the least likely to happen.
Least likely. A couple more. Total songs sung at the halftime show. Over 8 is minus 130. Under 8 is minus 110.
So many things.
Yeah. Color of Gatorade or liquid poured on the winning coach. Orange plus 240, blue plus 250, yellow, green, or lime plus 275, purple plus 500, clear or water plus 700, red or pink is plus 1,400. Red is your greatest value because you are the Patriots. Red is one of the colors. Blue's an easy one because both teams are blue.
I'd say green for Seattle.
Green for Seattle. I feel like water would, like the clear or water may be a fun play because I feel like at least Vrabel feels like a guy who might get mad that you poured colored liquid on him.
Just like stained him.
Yeah. He's probably telling the guys, like, look, if we win, just pour water on me. And then last one, Super Bowl MVP, Sam Darnold plus 275, Drake May plus 230, Jackson Smith and Jigba plus 475, Kenneth Walker III plus 775, Ramondre Stevenson plus 3,300, Rashid Shaheed plus 3,300. Stephon Diggs plus 4,500.
Rashid Shaheed.
There you go. So
I will have a fiver on Rashid Shaheed.
There you go. I might put it on
MVP.
Stephon Diggs.
It's going to be Desmond Howard stuff. It's going to be. I think this is a very strong Super Bowl candidate, I guess, for a non-quarterback MVP. I feel like. I mean, if Darnold blows up again and does something great, the thing is, even if he has a great game, I think that there's a tendency to not give that credit to Sam Darnold, to be like, well, that's
or Drake May for that matter.
Right. You have a young guy and you have a guy that's been like just a rag doll for the media, for so long that like it could easily be like, well, that was Stephon Diggs or that was Jackson Smith and Jigba, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, Devin thinks green will be the color of because obviously he has Seattle winning. So, all right, Sean, let's go ahead. Let's get ready to close it up for the show for the week.
You better lock it up. You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Lock it up.
Lock it up.
All right, Sean, what will happen this Sunday in the Super Bowl?
Well, this will happen. And, Devin, this is what could get you your overbet if you want it. The Seattle Seahawks, who, in my opinion, are the best team in the league at doing all of these things, will have at least one return touchdown. Whether it be interception, fumble, punt, or kick, they will have at least one non-offensive touchdown in the game. And I wanted to hang this on two, only because Shaheed has been such a – man, what were the Saints doing with Rashid Shaheed? Like, I know he had some big – but, man, he is – games they don't even throw him the ball. He's like one of the most dominant players on the field. That kid is fast, man.
Yeah.
I could easily see a Devin Hester-esque opening kickoff and just get that bet right away. But if there's a bet, yes or no, to a non-offensive touchdown, you take Seattle.
Yeah.
And you can lock it up.
Yeah, grab that. Let's go ahead.
Lock it up.
For me, I talked about a team pulling ahead late or the better team like making a play to make it happen. But the game being somewhat close. And this really goes either way, because I think if New England can find a way to win, this may be the difference. But a pick six or like a scoop and score, so a defensive touchdown will be the deciding play in Super Bowl 60.
Lock it up.
So hopefully it's a fun one. I think there's potential there for it to be a fun game. We will certainly find out. We're just a few days away, Sean. So for the second to last time in this live season, as we will wrap it all up next week, Sean, let them know where they can follow you.
Well, as usual, this week you can follow me right to the TV on Super Bowl Sunday, of course. And if you follow the Twitter, you can catch me at Sean Shine State. Might even give a little preview of where I'll be, as if I'm some kind of famous celebrity that no one will follow to his bar of choice. But you go ahead and follow me there. And one last time, as reigning champions, go Birds.
Yeah, I'm not going to be sorry to see that go. You can follow me at Big Jim Sports. More importantly, make sure you are following along with the show. We're at Huddle Up Podcast on social platforms. You can scan the QR code top right corner of the screen if you are on the video side. If not, hit the episode description, hit our social media for the link tree. That'll get us to all of the podcast homes, the merchandise store over at TeePublic. Most importantly, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube page. We're getting a lot of follows and interaction over there. We've appreciated the support all season long. And yeah, we are just 1 week away from the end of football, which always, of course, signifies the end of the Huddle Up Podcast live season. So we appreciate everybody sticking with us all year, and we look forward to doing it again next week. Until then, stay safe, stay smart, and as always, go for the win.